How to pin a sew bias tape straight on and around round corners. Pinning the first side of bias tape. Unfold the bias tape and pin it down on the fabric side of your fabric. This means the side of the fabric that you want to be visible, like this. Leave a loose end of about 3 centimeters or a big inch. At sharp corners like these, make little cuts just short of the fabric fold in the bias tape, about a half a centimeter or a quarter inch apart. This will allow the bias tape to follow the corner nicely. Open up the little cuts to follow the corner and pin them down. And just continue like this. This corner is a little less sharp, so the cuts here can be about 1 centimeter or a third of an inch apart. Again, open up the little cuts to let the bias tape follow the curve and pin everything down carefully. Even this curve can benefit from some cuts. These can be about 1.5 centimeters or 3/4 of an inch apart, since this curve is even less curvy. Sewing the first side of bias tape. Follow the fold line in the fabric, so sew on the fold line and take your times at the corners and curves. Connecting the two ends of loose bias tape. Straighten your fabric and lay the two ends together, matching the folds and edges of the bias tape neatly and pin together. Mind you, rather too long than too short. By pulling up the two ends of bias tape, you create room to sew the two edges together, you see? Pinning the second side of bias tape. Same as the other side, make little cuts at all curves and corners. Now, fold the bias tape around the fabric, making sure that the edge is gonna lay a little further than the sewing line of the bias tape on the first side. If needed, cut a little edge of the fabric to make it fit really well. If a corner is really sharp, it may be needed to make some pleats in the bias tape, but this bias tape didn't need it. Look, this corner is a lot sharper. Here I'm gonna make little pleats. Use your nails to fold the bias tape. Using clips is a very easy option for securing little pleats like this, but pins work just as well with a little patience. Look, takes a little longer, but works perfectly. Sewing the second side of bias tape. Sew really close to the edge of the bias tape, just about 2 millimeters or something. And put yarn on the bobbin of your machine, matching your fabric very well. This way the sewing line will not be visible on your fabric, nor on the bias tape of the first side, since we put the edge of the bias tape a little further than the first side. Et voila! Look, here you see it on the bias tape, but on the other side, nothing.